8:18. We're on time. All right. My prediction came true. It didn't take 25 minutes. But next election, I really think that we ought to give people a chance for some kind of a succession plan and encourage people to step up. I mean, it would be kind of fun to have several people saying why they would think that they would be good as this officer, and then you don't actually have to make a choice, rather than, oh, here we are. So, I just love democracy. Okay, so Councilmember Peralez? And actually, I did tell everybody when I sent out the agenda, I hope you saw that these bullet points were just because I love bullet points under an agenda item, but I did tell everybody that you are absolutely free to take your time and to discuss any subject and handle it in any way that you see fit.
Okay, but yeah, that's one of the ones that I wanted to cover, and as soon as my Chief of Staff, Lydia, makes it back, I'll do a more formal introduction of her, and she introduced herself as we went around the room, but I knew we were coming up on the agenda. And so she's the only staff member that's here with me today, and that's part of what I wanted to go into with you on sort of what my work with this group will be moving forward. So that way you guys have a good idea on how that relationship will work. And as Joan had pointed out, certainly one of the biggest benefits for me is being able to interact with so many neighborhood leaders in one set monthly meeting, because it's going to be impossible for me to make all of the meetings. And in fact, it'll be my staff that'll be out there, similar to how you experienced with Sam's office, that will be tasked with going out and actually being a liaison between these community neighborhood association meetings and the different business meetings, and then bringing that conversation back to me. But this certainly allows for that monthly FaceTime with me and with you, so that way we can communicate. And I know that part of what we talked about as well, and one of the things that I would like to do is, my commitment to the group is going to be here monthly myself. And it may not be the full hour and a half, 2 hours, but I will certainly be here for the meetings. I'm going to say at the 7 o'clock, the later portion of it, so that way I can be on the agenda every time. We can have that communication on the agenda, but I also wanted to save sort of the after hour, right? The 8 o'clock to maybe 8:30 for just free conversation. So almost a community hours every month as well after what's on the agenda. And so we'll have that, and that'll be my commitment every month for the group, for me to be here. And then the other portion of it is each meeting, what I'm going to have is a different one of my staff members here with me. And that'll be someone that you guys may recognize, obviously someone that as going forward will be your liaison to your neighborhood association. And we'll rotate that as well, so then that way they can have a communication with you. But the reality is it'll be me, and this will be my commitment to you and to the neighborhood leaders, and what I'd like to see back is a room like this. This is great. And as I had first started attending these meetings as a representative of Rosemary and Garda's Neighborhood Association, they were dwindling, in numbers. And I know obviously as the campaign went on, it was more difficult for Sam to be able to make all the meetings, and that's just kind of how the nature of this piece goes, right? We get turnover, and it makes it difficult. I'm really happy to see Paul here, and I know probably a lot of you are as well. So I'm excited to know what your commitment will be, but it's going to be great to see your face and have your input on a lot of these meetings. So to the extent of what you can make it, I don't want to extend that here, but it's great to have you here and have some of that consistency as well. But certainly that'll be my commitment, and I'm hoping, as I said, in return, it'll be that the majority of the neighborhoods will have a representative here at the meeting, and even more than what we have now, because I know there's certainly a number of representatives that are not attending these meetings, and I know sometimes it's because they don't know. It's because they can't make it, and we have to sort of stick with the time. And thank you very much. We have to stick with the time, and it's not going to fit everybody's, but this does seem to work out, and it has been an ongoing meeting, so I think it's worked into to the schedule, and so I'd like to be able to offer that up, to see a packed house like this each time. And so now I wanted to take the opportunity to introduce my Chief of Staff, Lydia, who had gone downstairs to grab the the redemption reader, and so I'll let you do a quick little intro, and then you can do a little more after.
Sure, hi. I recognize some of your faces. I feel like I've met some of you before, you know, that we worked before. I've worked here in District 3 for the last, 6 years now at Sacred Heart Community Service. I was one of the directors over there overseeing all of their educational programs, employment programs, financial education, a lot of the different kind of like ongoing relationship type of programs, domestic violence services, things like that. And, you know, I loved my job and I honestly hated to leave it, but he's the kind of guy that you can't say no to. And I also loved the fact that I got to continue to work here in this community because my heart is here, you know what I mean? I grew up here in San Jose. My family has lived in the same house for almost 40 years now, over halfway between Silver Creek and Andrew Hill, you know, so this is my home and it always has been, and it probably always will be. So I have a very strong investment in making sure that we bring people together. One of the values that Raul and I really resonate with each other on is this idea of serving community members and uniting community members with dignity, compassion, and respect. And so we recognize the fact that there's already infrastructure and an incredible amount of networks already in this district, and it's our job to really just listen and to help connect other people with resources and that kind of thing. And there's a lot of other folks that live here that aren't already connected with your neighborhood association. So as we're meeting with folks, we may determine that, oh, do you know that this group is already meeting right there in your neighborhood? And we need to know when your meetings are, who are the core leaders. I know that while there's change in leadership in our offices, there's also change in leadership among your neighborhood associations. So we need to make sure that our contact information is up to date and current. Our scheduling, stuff we got from Paul's team was mostly kind of current, but I think there has been a lot of recent changes with the change of the calendar year for your groups as well. And if there are folks that you think that we should be meeting with and issues that have been ongoing that we should know about, we need to hear that. So I invite you to kind of recognize the fact that this is a two-way exchange. While you're learning about us, we're learning about you, and we invite you to continue to kind of reach out to us directly. You can always, we don't know all the answers because we're just kind of getting the city landscape, if you will, but we're happy to kind of figure it out together. If we don't know the answers, things like, how do you know when it's code enforcement and DOT, right? Well, call our office so that we can learn that too, and that way if somebody else calls from another neighborhood association with the exact same issue, together we know how to answer that, and we're stronger as a community like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's important for us to learn from each other. So I'm really looking forward to this. We're excited. We have a really strong team kind of coming out the gate. A lot of excitement and energy and passion for this community, and excited to work together. It's going to be a good time.
Great.
Did better.
Also, a little caveat is if you plan on leaving before 8 o'clock, you can quietly excuse yourself, but make sure that you sign out on the little list so that I can give the parking meter people what they want or whatever. So go ahead and validate yourself and then sign out on that sheet.
Thank you. Yes, and I am extremely excited to have Lydia on board as my chief of staff. As she said, gave a little bit of her background.
Good choice.
Yeah, no, not only with her investment and her history here, I saw how she worked when I was on the Human Relations Commission. She served as the vice chair and I was on the commission, and that's where we met. And that's where I got to see how hard she worked and how passionate she was for the community. And so it's a privilege for me to have her on my team. And as she had stated, that's certainly a passion that we bring forward. And one thing that you can expect and you can hold my office to and everybody in it is going to be on our effort and our energy to put forth for the community. That's why I ran for this position, to give up a career that I had to working here in the community, to want to do this role. And that's the sort of staff that I wanted to build and bring for the community. So you'll be able to meet the rest of the staff as well. I'll give you the introduction real quick on the names. We have Richard Wynn, which is coming on. He's coming on board. He's been practicing law for about 4 years now, and he's also someone that I have met over the years. He's from the community, Vietnamese gentleman, grew up here in East San Jose. Has a lot of stake into his community, into working hard. He's been up in our office already. As you all know, being D3 residents, we certainly have one of the most demanding districts and some of the most organized and passionate people. So to be able to make sure that we can respond to that, and Paul can vouch, there's certainly a lot that comes. So we're excited. Richard's already been on, and you'll be able to meet him in one of the months to come. We have Lucila Ortiz, and some of you may recall her. She was my campaign manager, and so she has joined on board with the team. We have Jean Cohen. Jean Cohen was actually born in D3, born and raised in District 3. She's been working in a number of different offices. She worked for Jim Bell's office. She's been out in Oakland now for the last 6 years. She worked at Sacred Heart with Lydia beforehand. She's very excited to be able to come back to her community where she grew up. And in fact, her parents still live here right off 12th Street, I believe. And so, she's very excited to be able to come back, and she's going to be dynamic as well. And then we have a very energetic go-getter who is just, we wanted to have a spot in our office where we can foster some growth as well. And so we have a fresh graduate of San Jose State, Patricia Ceja, and she just came off an internship with the Silicon Valley Leadership Group. Same thing, very dynamic, very excited about, and passionate, and greener than I was when I started doing this. And so she's going to be probably taking on way too much initially, and so we'll end up having to make sure we keep her at a doable level, or a sustainable level. So, but that's our staff. As Paul knows, we don't really get too much staff to work with. But we're here to be responsive, and we're definitely here ready to work, and that's what I'm here for as well. So, yeah, I think that's it. So we'll put Madam Q&A or whatever.
Well, you know what? I think I probably better put a few rules out here, because I have a feeling one person asks a question, it's like that's it for the rest of our time. So I would like to ask, if you do have a question of Raul as to maybe what plan he has, I'd ask you not to make it too specific to one little incident that he would not have the background to get onto yet. And then please don't ask any follow-up questions. So is that fair? One question and then an answer, and then move on to someone else? Okay, I'm going to stand up because I'm kind of short and I need to be able to see if somebody has hands raised. Oh, and here's one right here.
And I can set it up too by kind of giving you a priority issue or priority ideas. This whole first year, there's no personal agenda that I come in with, and even the staff, we're going to be working on things together, things that we want to maybe focus on. But my initial focus, and I've already been speaking with Sam on several occasions, was to be able to pick up where things were left off. So then that way, the concerns that were out in the community, things that were already being worked on, or things that were already in the pipeline, that those don't get left behind. So this whole first year, certainly the first few months, is going to be trying to make sure that some of this stuff doesn't just get left behind. And that we pick up, as I said, with where those focuses were. So you can't, don't be concerned that there's sort of a lot of, my agenda is going to be to plug in my own issues and just drop off what's ever there. In fact, it's the complete opposite. There's no personal agenda right now. There's no immediate focus. There'll be things that come, right, that we're going to want to deal with, but the priority focus right now is going to be what's going on at hand. How do we have a smooth transition? So hopefully that helps a little bit.
Antonita?
Yes, thank you. And my question really is in 4 years, what are like 3 top things that you want to have accomplished in 4 years? There's a lot of things going on now, we understand, but that's my question.
Yeah, so one of the biggest things that I want to be able to sort of seal up is going to be with our budget issues, right? The pension issue. This was the priority issue that came about in the campaign, and there's a reason why. Because that's what's handcuffing us right now on being able to do anything else that we want to do, because we haven't sealed up this budget deficit that we have. And the fact of the matter is we probably reality won't be able to address this until 2016 with a ballot measure, whether it's a sales tax or whether it's an amendment to the pension reform. Anything, these all have to wait 2 years. So no matter what, that's a few years out. And then the hope is that within the next 2 years following that, we've actually not only finished that, sealed that up, but we've now maybe started to realize some of the savings that we should be already seeing. So then that way at the 4-year mark, the services that have been cut, from 2010 levels can, and this is a focus of the city as well, this isn't just my focus on, we can begin to actually see those being restored. And not just public safety, right, which has been a primary focus, but the services that have been cut across the board. So that's hands down going to be number one, and I can assure you the reality is that's number one on a lot of council members' plates, probably everybody's right now, and as well as the communities, because getting our books in line is going to be key to do anything else. The next two, I would say, sort of priorities is one of them in regards to BTA, and we know that right now it's a pressing issue with the 28th Street stop.
Yes.
But that may not be the only issue that comes about, because we're also talking about, is it going to be above ground in a certain area, below ground in a certain area? How, when we're boring through the ground, where certain, how is this going to impact the community? Are we going to have the Santa Clara stop? Are we potentially going to remove a different one? There's a lot of issues going on with this BART line. And if I had a magic wand, right, I mean, I would love to see BART go from here all the way to San Francisco, right, and make its full rounds and the stops be in all the places where they need to be and have it be a really efficient line. But we're on a budget with that as well, and this necessarily isn't our budget. This is, we're working with BTA, we're working with the state. So one of the things that I want to try to be an advocate for, and I urged Sam to place me on the BTA board, and he put me on 2 advisory committees with the BTA board, the rapid transit, which actually will be able to deal with that, and the BRT line that's coming in right now, and the Dearborn Station plan. And then I'm also an alternate, is where he placed me on BTA, which gives me a really good likelihood on being on the board in a few years as the position opens. So he heard me, he responded, which I was very happy with, because I think our district, of any district in San Jose right now, we have the most transit and public transit related issues coming through, and for the future, for the near future. There's certainly, 85 being expanded, there's other things, but nothing with the impact that we're going to have here in D3. So it's so important that you as a community have a voice there and have a representative. So that's going to be one of the impacts, as well as 4 years. I'd love to see that be something that's successful and comes through. So, number of other smaller issues, but one of the ones that is sort of dear to me, and it came to me through the campaign, I know it's been something that's been looming for a while, is the conversion of Vine and Outlet, the two-way conversion. I'd love to actually see that be finalized. I know it's close, believe it or not, it's actually close, and Paul and I have spoken about it. So that one's been waiting around for about 15 years, so I'd like to see that cross the line before the 4-year mark. So.
Thank you.
That was excellent. Tom?
Baseball, Oakland A's.
Well,
Any
you
thoughts about that?
probably read the news as I did, and if anybody else missed it, this is probably going to go to the Supreme Court because it's getting shot down at every level, and Major League Baseball's winning, essentially, and we're losing. And I say we, even though I didn't quite support the litigation, but it is San Jose, and this is a benefit of San Jose, and it's San Jose in the lawsuit, so that is me now, we. So, I imagine it may, to be quite honest with you, I don't want to see it go to Supreme Court because I have a very pessimistic view on what's going to happen there anyways. Do I want to see the A's here? I would love to see the A's here. I think that they would be a great asset. We see what the Sharks have done for our community. We know we're in issues with that right now. This is a 20-year-old arena that, quite frankly, 20 years from now will either be maybe demolished, repurposed, or gone. And that's just kind of the life of arenas and stadiums. So having that in mind and knowing that we did just be able, we will be breaking ground March 22nd on the Via Stadium, the Earthquakes, which will be great addition. But having the A's, I think, would bring something different here. I just don't think that the path of this lawsuit is going to be successful, quite frankly. I think we have to, if we really want them here, we have to address that in a different way. So one of the conversations I'll be having with our mayor is sort of where's his mindset on this? Because I know that Chuck's mindset was in taking this lawsuit to the Supreme Court. That's where it had to go, and that's where it looks like it's going. I still am pessimistic. As I said, I don't think that's going to be successful. So it's going to be getting on board with Sam and finding out where his head is at. That, where do we just accept defeat in that manner and then walk away and look at something else? Or do we want to go back to, sort of the old, take the Giants ownership out for a drink and say, how do we resolve this issue with that's where the hold is at? So I don't know, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, it's a big issue. I mean, antitrust is huge.
Yeah.
Significant change.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Jim?
I'm always going to be interested in things that are happening in downtown as far as development and transportation. I went to a meeting last night. Again, Barry Swenson is going to be building a 14-story high-rise near 87.
Mm-hmm.
And so the question came up about the Julian alignment, traffic flow from St. John to St. James.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you're brand new, But I was always getting an update, you know, from Sam on those kinds of things, so I'd love to know about the development in downtown.
Yeah,
So,
I've actually had an update on that already. I met with Barry Swenson in regards to that development site. And then I had a conversation with Bob Stabler, I believe, which is involved in that development as well, because it was kind of a redevelopment carryover on the development of that site. And that is moving, that does look like that's moving forward pretty quickly here. And that Julian, if everybody kind of can picture it as the Julian Street entrance to 87, it makes that little loop that will be realigned, and they're going to straighten that back out, and there won't be a new entrance for 87. It's going to stay at that same entrance, but there won't be that loop going through now. It's going to be straightened back out. I think there's the two developments there, so I'm not fully keen to everything going on, but there's the two developments there, residential, and one of the things too that we can do, as you were saying too, on specific issues, follow up with me on my office, and these are things that we can, that I'll have the information on, or somebody from my staff will have the information on, and as I get more of my feet wet into these issues, I'll have better answers for you.
In conjunction with that, it has to do with, the issues with more storefronts closing, restaurants, because Kimberly unfortunately put the announcement out about Discover San Jose. She's closing her doors.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm interested in when you come each time.
Yeah.
Okay, Jeff, and then Dr.
Just a quick question. This goes back to transitioning from Sam when he was council member. Administrative citation process that last September or August was sent to the city attorney's office to review. This is for expanding the ability to go out and cite people for fireworks. I know you're just getting started, but
Yep. So Don Gagliardi will actually be here next month. I'm believing to be able to get everybody up to speed on where that's at right now. Essentially, where it got left last year was in priority setting with the budget. It just perfectly didn't make it, and so the idea is going to be this year. And I know this is coming from the Illegal Fireworks Coalition. Or I don't know what their name is, but they're going to be, and that's what Don is going to give you an update on. Is they're trying to organize now the rest of the city, right? Utilizing groups.
I'm part of that.
Yeah.
That's why
So
I'm
yeah,
here.
utilizing groups like this to reach out to other districts, because it was more of a D3 issue last year, which we know it's more than just a D3 issue. But what happened was at the plate, it was just a D3 issue, and that's and priority-wise, it didn't quite make the cut. So we're going to be in the same boat this year, and and it's going to come across the board as a number of other priorities do from other districts. So the reality is, squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? And if you can get other districts on board, and if you can get a big enough presence that's saying this is an issue that we want to have set as a priority, then I think it's a great idea. I think it's just a matter of implementing it or not, right? And how soon can we do it based on the budget that we have. So I'm on board with it. It's a matter of where does it end up falling on the chopping block.
Perfect.
I was just kind of figuring out where that 87 Julian, but that's the matter of share. I see it go up pretty soon anyway. I just want to compliment on the new LED lights. They just put them up in our neighborhood, and they're wonderful. You can see the color of cars.
Yep.
You can see people.
Yeah.
Do you want to just make sure he knows your name and what neighborhood you're
He
from?
knows me. I'm Mary Shriver. I'm from the Goodyear Mastic neighborhood. I'm vice president.
Well, I wasn't sure because.
Okay, I know everybody else does it.
Yeah, no, those LED lights are great, and they're slowly but surely you'll be seeing them in your neighborhoods as well.
New street lights?
New street lights,
Yes.
yeah, LED street lights, as opposed to this yellow kind of amber glow where you can
Yeah.
hardly see
I
stuff.
think it's going to really help with the prostitution issue
Yeah.
and a lot
Yeah.
of the homeless and tagging, because nobody wants to tag where the lights are, because they can be seen there.
Yeah, they can be seen. Yeah, and it's better for the surveillance cameras as well. It's much more clear.
Mhm.
Wonderful. Okay, so Richard, last question.
Oh, okay. You've been to Spartan Keys many times, and what do you think of the future of Spartan Keys will look like, or what's going to take place there?
The neighborhood itself, or are we
Yeah.
talking? Yeah. Well, number one, so one of the things that I'm gonna try to get on the mayor's budget as well, priority for at least another one-time funding, is just the use of the community center, because I know that helped. Sam's office helped last year to save that community center for the use of Spartan Keys. And that's one of the things I'm going to try to make sure that we can at least get for another year as well. But Spartan Keys in general, I certainly, right? The jungle was looming for so many years, and now that being cleared out and essentially popping up everywhere else in the city. But definitely, there's a lot of potential for growth, and especially with support, like from Community in kind of adopting Spartan Keys as one of the neighborhoods that they're willing to work with. That's going to be my hope, is sort of work with the community, work with groups like Community, to see where it is that we can, where can we move a neighborhood like that. I think it's sort of a hidden area or district in regards to its importance with San Jose, the art arc, which is something I didn't even know about. I learned about during the campaign, and I think there's a lot of potential, especially with the art community, and that has it could be a model for south of 280, not only in the District 3 area, but as you go further south to District 7, with its relationship to the park, with the Five Wounds Trail that we're hopefully being able to cut through there. So a number of issues, but I think one of the most important things right now for me to help the community and the neighborhood there is to be able to save your location for you to have your meetings, so then that way you can keep those conversations, that dialogue going in a place where we show that we're supporting your district.
Yeah, I know there's a study going on there in South 12th Street, a traffic study, do you know what that's about?